All right, YouTube and Twitch, welcome to the show. Just getting things going here, so let's go ahead and get things started so that we can have everything ready to go at this point. And I think for right now, things are working properly, so we'll go ahead and zap things into gear here in just a second. Want to make sure that everybody on Facebook is up and ready to go and everything's loaded up. Very quiet tonight, very much on the warm and muggy side. Whether or not it stays that way into next week, that is the interesting question, because we've got some changes taking place heading our way next week, it looks like. So good news again for next week, but until then we've got some warm and very muggy conditions coming our way into the semi-near future, but we'll talk more about that here in just a little bit, so stay tuned for more on that. Got questions, concerns, anything, drop them into the comments section. We'd love to see what you're talking about and where you're from, so stay tuned for more, and here we go. All right, welcome to the show. It is just about, give or take a few minutes since we are usually start on here. I'm Chief Meteorologist Austen Onek. It is Thursday evening. It is a quiet night. It's a little bit nicer out there, not by much, but we do have a little bit better conditions thanks to a front that is dropping through the area, bringing us some slightly drier air. So we don't have anything in the way of cool, crisp, autumn-like weather, but it is a little bit more tolerable, shall we say. We also have some more activity going on in the tropics. Not a major threat at this point, but 3 days until we get into hurricane season for the Atlantic. The Pacific hurricane season has already started, so that is important. No matter which coastline you're visiting, you want to make sure that you're paying attention to what's going on with that ever-changeable forecast. And remember, you don't want to be heading into an area that you're going to have to turn right back around and get out of before you get to that location. Check the forecast and stay tuned with News 12, and we'll keep you updated on that. I'm Chief Meteorologist Austen Onek. This is Weather Overtime. It's our online video weather blog, live at about 9:45 Eastern Time, coming to you live from Chattanooga, Tennessee, southeast United States. If you're just tuning in, you've never been here before, welcome to the show. If you've got questions about the forecast, we had a couple questions on the drought situation last night, so thanks for asking that. If you've got any questions, please drop them into the comments section. We'll answer what we can, or just say hi, check in from wherever you happen to be tonight. Great to have you along, and again, this is the place where if you have questions, we love to answer them. This is our way of doing some outreach so that our viewers from wherever they happen to be can ask questions about what's going on with the forecast out there. So for tonight, let's go ahead and get started and show you more about what we're expecting. If you can't stick around for the entire forecast, here's a brief look at what we're going to be seeing into the overnight hours, which again for now is not all that bad. We've got some fairly quiet conditions out there and should be staying that way for at least most of the evening. There could be a scattered shower or a thunderstorm, but with that drier air making its way on through, it's a good possibility that we probably won't see much of anything happening. I would take the rain gear anyway, just to be on the safe side, just to make sure that you have that along with you. Thanks a lot to our viewers for sending in some great pictures out there. Thanks to News 12 viewer Anthony Wheeler from Chattanooga for Thursday's picture, and with the title, kind of getting some Bob Ross vibes here with some happy little azaleas. Not a painting, but a nice picture, and thank you very much. April showers, May flowers. We're not picky. We'll take whatever you've got in the way of weather pictures. And if you've got them, here's what you do. All you have to do is send them to us again at pictures@WDEF.com. If you want to go old school by email, that's one way to do it. Never thought I'd be referring to email as old school, but there we are. You can drop them to the comments section in our social media pages. Please give us a description and or location if you would be so kind, so we won't have to guess, and we can tell everybody what you were doing and what you were looking at. Or again, you can go to Weather Window headquarters at our website, WDEF.com. www.weatherblog.com/photos. And we'll have the picture of the day contest coming up starting tomorrow for all the pictures from this week, so stay tuned for more on that, and we'll be featuring that again coming up a little bit later on. What it looks like downtown, the haze is there, a little bit of cloud cover. You can see some of that drifting on through. Not seeing anything in the way of fog problems for tonight, but that could be an issue out across portions of the area coming up a little bit later on this evening, so that's something you might want to watch if you are traveling. The lights of Erlanger Park downtown, baseball game over with for tonight's. Who won? Well, we'll have to see what Rick Nyman says on News 12 Sports coming up on News 12 at 11. It's still very toasty out there, comfortable and very high levels of moisture. When the dew point temperature, the temperature of the air saturated, gets closer to the air temperature, that's when you start running into those higher humidity levels, and that's where it starts getting much more uncomfortable, and that is where we continue again to see that trend continuing over the course of the next several weeks and months. This area of the country can get pretty oppressive when it comes to the amount of humidity in the atmosphere. Hopefully some drier air out there, just not really occurring anytime soon. Air quality is not bad, actually. We have seen some more polluted type atmosphere out there over the course of the last several weeks. We even got up to a code red situation about, give or take, about a month or so ago. And as of right now, again, whoops, excuse me a second, that was Twitch interrupting there. It looks like the Twitch stream is working just fine, so we'll leave that where it is. Main pollutant problems out there tonight are the particle pollution, the smaller particle pollution, 2.5 microns. That's smoke, soot, and exhaust particles. That is up to a moderate level, and that's pretty much why we have the higher levels of pollutants and the lower air quality. The other problem we've got is ozone gas. That was up to about a 14 a little while ago. Other particle pollution, larger particles, dust, pollen, and soil particles, those are up to about a 12 from yesterday, about a 6 yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, but it's still in the low category, so we're not doing too bad on the air quality for right now. Radar, we have a couple of showers on the plateau on either side of I-24, drifting to the west, right behind the edge of that front. Some showers east of Atlanta, and some thunderstorms dying off to the west of Huntsville, so everything kind of spreading out and moving away from the area. We're just not getting too much to show in the way of rainfall tonight, and that's because of that cold front we were talking about. So that's almost out of here, and as it goes, better chances of rain will be leaving, at least for tonight. You can see that distinct area of no rainfall, mainly back to the north of the News 12 viewing area. Again, southeast Tennessee, northeast Alabama, northwest Georgia, and western North Carolina. So all the rain now from Nebraska down to the Gulf and the Atlantic coastal areas. Not much more than that for tonight, so that'll do it for the rainfall chances for the most part. Again, that area right around Grundy County, Tennessee, could pick up more of a shower going on there. The front itself has wandered its way south of the area down into northern Alabama and Georgia, and then we've got this area of low pressure which is developing over parts of the Red River Valley. That is going to be making its way back to the east, and that's going to be heading our way as we go into the next couple of days, and that is going to be stirring up more potential of rainfall as we go into the end of the week and into the weekend. And then there's another system or two or three coming in after that. So next couple of days, the front itself that just moved through will kind of start to wobble back and forth as a stationary front. They do that sometimes. High pressure to the north, high pressure down to the south. Not seeing a lot of anything moving this front forward, so it's like a slipstream between the gears right there, and it doesn't go all that far, all that fast. So more potential clash between the cold fronts there. Another storm system, this one more energetic, moving in from the northwest. That drops a front across our area. Hopefully, again, some drier air. That'll clear us out from Saturday into Sunday. Numbers stay pretty mild though, so we're not getting a big burst of cold air with this. And then we see another storm system developing back across Oklahoma and Kansas. This one coming our direction back as a warm front, and then another front drops down from the north around Monday. And that is where things really start to get interesting as we go into the early part of next week. Monday is the 1st of June, so the first day and the first week of the new month does have some changes out there. Now, dew point temperatures, as you get into around, say, 60, 70 degrees on the dew point temperature, that's where you get into some, again, fairly tropical, sultry conditions. So anything in the green category is going to be very much on the fairly uncomfortable side. And as you get into the brown colors, red colors, that's where we see a little bit drier conditions out there. But notice that the humid air sticks around through Saturday night and into Monday. We'll get some brief forays with that dry air trying to come a little bit farther south. And then Monday into Tuesday, the numbers drop and we really get into some nicer, drier air, which is why right now, if everything works, we should be seeing some nicer conditions coming our direction in the way of dry numbers out there. And that's not exactly good. We could use the rainfall. Drought situation has improved a little bit, less of an extreme 4 out of 5 situation, and we have gotten a decent amount of rain in the last 30 days. We are about 178% of normal, so that's good news when it comes to everything involving rain, and we'll start seeing lesser potential of rainfall over the next several days into about the first half of June. Afterwards, going toward July, more potential of normal, drier conditions. Again, that doesn't preclude some showers and thunderstorms coming on through, but it will be possible out there, so something to watch in the next several days. Heading to the Gulf or the Atlantic or the Caribbean or the Pacific coast, it is hurricane season or will be hurricane season on both coastlines. 3 days until hurricane season officially starts in the Atlantic. And as of tonight, there is nothing going on in the Atlantic, the Gulf, or the Caribbean. Hang on to that thought for just a second. There is in the lower left-hand corner of your screen a new formation chance in the Eastern Pacific, but that is moving away from the Americas out toward Hawaii, and only a 40% chance of anything developing in the course of the next few days. The Eastern Pacific, that'll be the best possibility of development into the early portion of June, and then that lessens but stays the hot spot as we go through the next few weeks into mid-month June. This information courtesy of the Climate Prediction Center. There is also the possibility, now yesterday's model run was showing an intense storm system developing between Cuba and the Yucatan Peninsula right around that loop current area. The latest forecast going into next week does show something developing, but a lot more broad, a lot less collected, and a lot less powerful. So models can change from day to day and week to week. So that's why we always say it's important to stay weather aware. We also have a collection of dust coming in from off of Africa, and that is moving across the Atlantic. This is good. This is normal. We like dust because dust gets between the ocean surface and the heat coming down from the sun and keeps tropical systems from developing. This burst is going to be powerful enough to cover most of the Atlantic. This is actually where the Amazon rainforest gets a lot of its nutrients from the sand and dust of the Sahara. But some of this dust is going to be so thick and this plume so powerful that some of this might make its way into the southeastern United States as we go into the middle of next week. So that's something to watch. Will it make it all the way here? It's iffy, but it is still a possibility. So again, we'll watch that with a lot of interest. 7-day forecast, Island Cove, Marina and Resort, looking back to the west tonight. Finally, looking at an end to the rainfall as we get into Tuesday, maybe some showers and thunderstorms there, and temperatures dip a little bit with all the clouds and the rainfall sticking around through the weekend. But into next week, finally taking the markers for rainfall out of the picture, so looking a little bit better as we get into and around the end of next week. So outdoor activities looking a little bit better out there toward the end of next week It's not much, but after the soaking we've gotten, and we need more rainfall to make up for the deficit, that again will be finally drying us out a little bit there. Fourth rock from the sun, latest weather report from the Curiosity rover at Gale Crater, which is on the equator. 34 degrees. That doesn't sound like much, but with an atmosphere 100 times less thick than the Earth's, that right there, and especially on the equator, that is a heat wave for the red planet. So if you'd like to follow along with the weather reports, which are sporadic, this is not, again, anything that comes out on an hourly or daily basis, go to mars.nasa.gov if you'd like to check out more there. Chip Chapman will have his forecast for you coming up in the morning, and it's going to be a mild one, lows barely into the 60s in some locations, and maybe a shower or a thunderstorm out there, not out of the question. So again, be prepared for that. Finishing up, a little bit more extracurricular activity here real quick. Taking a look at our weather poll question of the day. What month is May according to ready.gov? National Hurricane Preparedness, National Heat Wave Awareness, or National Geothermal Energy? The answer, of course, is National Hurricane Preparedness. There is no Heat Wave Awareness Week, but tomorrow is Heat Awareness Day, May the 29th. And thanks to everybody who voted in our poll. Thank you very much for that. And passing this along, the McCamey Animal Shelter is something like 227 puppers over and other pets available, and they would really, really appreciate some help if at all possible, if you are able to do so. So if you can, go to McCameyAnimalCenter.org. They have a special event coming up this Saturday, and they're trying to get as many adopted pets out the door if at all possible. So if you can't adopt or foster, please spread the word that they could use some help getting the adoptive pets out of the shelter and to their forever homes. That would really, really help out if you could please do that. That should do it for tonight. We're going to go ahead and wrap up. We've got some recording stuff going on in the studio, so we're going to go ahead and make certain everything is shut down here. Been on here for about 15, 20 minutes. That's not bad for tonight. Thanks to everybody for joining us for tonight's edition of Weather Overtime, and we'll be back with a lot more information coming up on Friday. Thanks again for joining us, and we'll talk to you again in the morning with Chip and myself tomorrow afternoon. And of course, more information available at